Hi Gemini, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your October 2021 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, to take out the cross spread as always, and I also pulled an oracle card and a mudra card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus will be as far as that goes. So we'll see what we get. Okay, so we have Capricorn. That's actually your 8th house of death, rebirth, intimacy, investments. We have 4, so that's 4th house for you guys. That's Virgo. We're actually just wrapping up Virgo season at the time I'm recording this. And we have Saturn. So Saturn is actually in Aquarius, which is in your 9th house of philosophy, higher learning, foreign affairs. All right. So with all that out of the way, we'll get started. Alright, in the main situation position, we have the Sun. So this is definitely a light, playful energy. Usually represents things coming back to life. Now, of course, Leo is ruled by the Sun, and they're 5th house energy. And you guys are going to have a lot of energy in your 5th house as we move into Libra season. So it could just be as simple as that. You know, saying having the energy going on through that house could be lighting you guys up in a certain way. Could just have you focusing a little bit more on creativity as well. But yeah, I feel like you're just going to feel like there's a more light, playful, energetic energy coming your way in October. In the Challenger obstacle position, we have the High Priestess. So I can see this playing out a couple of different ways. It could just be saying that you might have been in a more introverted, just low-key energy more recently, so that could feel like a drastic change, right? I mean, if we just look at the colors alone, energetically, it looks like a much different scene, right? So that could be part of it. It could just be, might feel like a sudden shift of gears for you guys, but for others of you, it could just be saying that maybe you're getting a lot of positive energy, positive recognition, and attention, but part of you might be feeling like there might be something off about it with the High Priestess and the challenge, right? Where you're like, I don't know, intuitively, this seems a little bit off, right? But I feel like this is saying you could definitely trust it, but for whatever reason, you might have your doubts this month. All right, in the foundation position, we have the Page of Cups in reverse, the Hanged Man, and the 9 of Wands. So yeah, this kind of emphasizes the energy that I was feeling there too, which, like I said, something just might seem off to you about the attention coming your way. Now, to be fair, with the Page of Cups in reverse, you might be not completely off and feeling like maybe there is something wrong, right? Because with the Page of Cups energy, usually in the upright, they are presenting themselves as fairly, at least sincere, right? There could be a lack of preparation, a lack of confidence. For example, he's coming forward with a fish still in the cup, right? Which could represent sometimes a rushed offer, maybe not just feeling comfortable in your skin, coming forward with an offer. So to see that in reverse could just be saying that there might be something that is a little off. And with the Hanged energy, I feel like this is saying that you might be looking at that offer and trying to figure out, okay, do I really want to pursue this or not, right? But with the 9 of Wands here, it could just be saying that be mindful that you might also be looking at, maybe especially with the fact that we'll have Mercury retrograde, it might remind you of something from your past. So it could just be saying, just be mindful that maybe you're drudging up something from the past and seeing it in this new thing, and that could be making you a little bit more hesitant as far as accepting it goes, but that's what I'm seeing there. Can be around relationships for you guys for sure, given that the Mercury retrograde will be in your 5th house, and then this energy here is Sagittarius energy, which represents your opposite sign. So could be that, or it could be career too, given that this is Pisces energy and that represents your 10th house. All right, in the past position, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So this could just be saying that an offer might have come your way. Could definitely be related to finances, of course, and given that this is Virgo energy, it might have been fairly recent that you did receive that offer. If that's the case, it might have been something that you might have felt was a long time coming. So again, like I was saying, if we look at it, given that he's going right toward the energy here, could just be saying that maybe this was something that you might have expected for a while, but it might have just taken so long that you might have given up hope that, okay, yeah, this just isn't going to happen, right? So maybe that offer finally came through, and now, okay, on the one hand, you do have that excitement about it, but at the same time, there could be a little bit of hesitancy, like, okay, yeah, this seems a little off, why did it take so long, right? Things along those lines. In the present position, we have the Ace of Swords, so this is definitely a good energy to see, because if you are in that energy where you're not necessarily trusting what's around you, this Ace of Swords could represent having some type of sudden insight around, what is going around you. So there could be that moment of clarity that comes through for you guys, which is definitely a positive thing. And, especially like I said, given that there might be something that reminds you of something from your past, given that we saw that in the foundation position, in that regard, the Mercury retrograde might be helping you to see that too. All right. In the near future position, we have the Ace of Cups, the King of Wands, the Queen of Swords, and the Four of Pentacles. So in a way, it feels like a lot of repeat themes here, right? Now we see the ace, of course, different from the page, but they are connected. But at least here it's upright, whereas in there it was in the reverse. We see Leo energy here, which, like I mentioned, Leo's ruled by the sun. We have the Libra energy here, which I mentioned, you guys are going to have a lot of energy going on in your 5th house this month. And then we also have the Four of Pentacles, which is Capricorn energy. So we did see that come up in your dice for one. And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn too, so there's a little bit of a connection there. So yeah, the way I see this is someone might come toward you with some kind of an offer. Like I said, for some of you can be romantic, for others of you it might be more of a financial thing. And I feel like whatever that offer is, there seems to be a healthy amount of skepticism coming from you guys with that, right? We see that with the Queen of Swords, the Ace of Swords, I mentioned it with the High Priestess and the Challenge. And for some of you, that could lead to you being a bit closed off toward it. Now, I will say the more positive way the Four of Pentacles energy can come across, I usually mention to people that to me, I view it as a combination of the Saturn energy, but also with some Mercury energy. So it's like, okay, looking at the work you've put in towards something and then thinking about how best to invest your resources from there. So it could just be as simple as that. Someone might come forward to you with an offer, whether it be a job offer, maybe some kind of an opportunity to invest in something. And you could have a little bit of hesitancy, like, all right, like I said, a healthy bit of skepticism about, okay, do I really want to go into this? And if it is something that's come back around from your past during the Mercury retrograde, it might not be a bad thing, but you still definitely want to look it over anyway. If it's something that's brand new, yeah, I could see your hesitancy. You might not want to reject it outright, but maybe just at least give it a little bit more time to think it through. All right. In the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Ace of Wands and the Magician. So it's interesting to see all these ace energies in your reading, especially just looking at the way they kind of come out in the spread there, in that line there. So if we just look at that as a natural progression, right? So maybe you have an insight around something. Okay, this is something that I want to do, right? Maybe it's having the thought. Now you might be thinking about, okay, can I actually make this happen, right? So maybe you get more connected with it on an emotional level, just tapping into your intuition, like, okay, how would I actually go about this? And then seeing the actual Ace of Wands here. Again, it's still in the idea stage, but with the Magician, I feel like this is maybe something clicks for you guys where you figure out, okay, yes, this is something I do want to move forward toward, and this is how I can go about doing it, right? So, looks like pretty positive energy there. All right, and in the environment position, we have the Strength card, which is Leo energy again, and the Four of Swords, which is Libra energy again. So we're seeing a lot of that popping up too. So 3rd house energy for you guys, 5th house energy for you guys. So it could just be also you guys may be wanting to communicate around a creative project that maybe you've been working on for a while, right? So like I said, maybe this is an idea you've had. You might have actually been putting in the work in the past, but just thinking about, okay, when's the actual right time to bring it out, right? So that's another way that Knight of Pentacles energy could be playing out. Saying, okay, you might have been putting in work, maybe even starting in Virgo season, but for some of you might even go back to as far as the previous Virgo season that you've been working on something, but you've kept it under wraps for the time being. Okay, when's the right time, trying to take a pulse for when would be the right time to release it, right? So that could be what that High Priestess energy is about, like intuitively trying to feel out, okay, when's the time that I should present this? And now you might be getting closer to that with this energy here. Represents still holding back a little bit, but with that Four of Swords energy, I feel like this is saying that maybe as we get toward the end of Libra season, because this represents Libra energy, the last 10 degrees of Libra, that might be more of the time when you feel like you're actually ready to make that leap. And of course, if this is someone else, because in the environment, I read it more in this particular case like this was just energy influencing you. But if it's someone else in your environment, it could be that this is actually involving someone else too, where they might have been holding back feelings for you, maybe because they were still healing from something from their past. So for some of you, this energy we see here could actually be another person. You know, maybe they had interest, but they weren't ready to come forward yet. Because they were going through their own healing process with that Nine of Wands there. And now this month could be when they actually do come forward toward you. And then you're caught with that decision, right? Like, okay, this is the offer they came through with. Do I want to accept it? Do I want to move forward toward it? So I wanted to mention that was a possibility as well. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Tower. So yeah, it looks like you might just have a little bit of fear around rocking the boat this month for whatever reason. Now, you know, Libra energy can come across that way in general, where you're always trying to bounce your desires off the desires of another, right? So there could be that desire for balance, for harmony, which is not a bad thing, but I feel like this is saying that you might feel that whatever you have going on, you feel like it could come across a bit disruptive, maybe even destructive in some cases. So it could just be like there's a little bit of hesitancy to come forward for that reason too. It seems like it's unfounded, especially given that this is shown up here. I always point out to people, whether this looks like an amazing card in this position or a bad one, quote unquote, it is just hopes or fears. This is more of something that's on your mind as opposed to an indicator of it actually playing out. And none of the other energies I'm seeing in the spread seem to point to anything like this happening. The closest thing to that would be the Ace of Swords, of course, but that's not really going to present itself in a bad way either. At least I don't think so for most of you. All right, and in the outcome position, we have the Page of Wands in reverse, Death, which is Scorpio energy, and Two of Wands, which is Aries energy. So, interesting, you know, we see the aces in the upright, and then we see the pages in reverse. I view ace energy and page energy as two sides of the same coin, basically. If you think about certain card games like blackjack, for example, you could either use the ace as a 1 or as an 11. That's how I view it, that they are very much connected with each other. So it's interesting to see the actual taking action part seems to be reversed in the spread, whereas the actual ideas are flowing in a much more positive, upright manner. So this could just be saying that for a lot of you, again, this could just be maybe being stuck in your head, right? That could be what the High Priestess is showing up as well in that regard in the challenge position. And to see that followed with the Death card could just be saying that you're finally going to be coming out of that, right? That, okay, just being stuck in the idea phase, not ready to move forward. The Death card, especially given that this represents Scorpio energy, could just be saying that as we approach Scorpio season, you might actually feel ready to take that action and actually move forward. So that's what I'm seeing. So yeah, it looks like it just might be a cycle where you guys are just really just mulling over ideas at this time, not quite ready to take action. Now, of course, I will say, given that we are going to have the Mercury retrograde, that might not be the worst strategy. And if you're wondering if it's more of a frustration for you to feel like you're in that stuck energy, it looks like it's saying that by the time we approach Scorpio season, which is around the time when Mercury's almost going to be out of its shadow too, looks like you'd be more ready to move forward. So some of you might even take until November, but that'll be here before we know it. This year's kind of flying by. All right, moving on to your Oracle card, we have Time to Go. There's the artwork, and the number is 45. All right, so let's see what this has to say. Okay, it says endings, completion, walking away from something because there is nothing else to learn or experience. The Oracle's message: you are at the end of one journey and have not yet begun the next. This is the moment to bless your experience thus far. Take stock of what you've learned. It's time to move on to new experiences and a new way of being. There is nothing left for you to do, be, or experience in your present circumstances. Take the risk and move on, even if you need to be in transition for a time. Your destiny is calling you. So yeah, I mean, just reading that message as a whole, and especially the part where it says your destiny is calling you, that could be what all these ace energies are about, where you just might be getting these persistent thoughts, right? And maybe you're not trusting them with that High Priestess and the challenged position, but these thoughts could be leading you to a state of abundance, to a fresh start, right? To being in the spotlight in some way. There could be some doubt around that for you guys. Like I said, looks like you will get out of that, even if it takes till Scorpio season. But if you're feeling that energy, that seems to support what we were seeing in the main spread. All right, the relationship message says it's over, or at the very least, the form this relationship has taken is no longer of service to you or the other person. This is a time of letting go, of knowing that the journey has come to its conclusion. That doesn't mean anything is lost. Although this card could speak to a breakup, drifting apart, or the end of a soul contract, it is more about release than destruction. Remember the saying, if you love something, let it go. If it comes back, it's yours. If not, it never was. Endings are always a sign of new beginnings. If you want something deeper, walk away. So, wasn't getting a huge one-to-one relationship vibe there, but again, if that was something you guys were looking for, hopefully that message resonated with you, and worst case, we'll be doing the love readings next week as well. All right, the prosperity message says this message is clear. The path you've been on with your work, creative projects, and business alliances have come to an end. You will not find the success you desire by continuing with what is now in front of you. This is an auspicious sign because there is no choice that will benefit you other than risking stepping into the unknown. It is time to walk towards something new. This card also pertains to the more neutral concept of completion. You've finished your task and can rest assured that this ending will open up a powerful new avenue of opportunity, even better than any you can imagine. You have done all you can. Now trust that Spirit keeps the plan moving forward. Fortune requires you to conclude this chapter of your life. And remember that when you close one door, another opens. So definitely an interesting message to read there, because that makes me think of the fact that we basically are under the energy right now of that Pisces full moon, which is in your 10th house of career and social status. So yeah, for those of you, if you are viewing this as more of a career situation, I can see where that can make sense too. And then with all those ace energies, it looks like there would be new opportunities on the table for you guys. So hopefully that resonated. All right, and lastly, we have a Mudra for you guys. So the Mudra you got this month is the Kashyapa Mudra. There it is there. Keyword for it is preservation. All right, and let's see if we can get it to focus. There we go. All right, let's see if we get everything to frame. There we go. On the benefits, it says grounding and centering, balances masculine and feminine qualities, protects against negative energies and unfriendly or confused spirits, sometimes called orphan spirits. So yeah, under the note section, it also mentioned something about smudging. So yeah, if your energy does feel a little bit off, you guys might want to look into smudging. You could just do a Google search if you've never done it before. You find plenty of information on that. But yeah, for those of you who think this Mudra would be beneficial for you guys, we'll put the name in the description of the video as always. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.